The views expressed on the Nova Society are those of the panelists and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the Phoenix Research Institute or any institution which any panel member is associated.
Welcome back to the Nova Society. I'm your host, Dr. Brooklyn Ann Weldon, and I'm here with my favorite panel, Dr. Scott Gershwer and Dr. Mark Bound. Today we will be answering listener emails, and we have a question from Tammy, who lives in Alexandria, Virginia. And Tammy asks, didn't work out how Pete Hegseth had planned. All the legitimate press corps have walked out of the Pentagon, refusing to sign up for the loyalty pledge. Even Fox couldn't agree to this obtrusive oversight of journalism. And when Fox goes against their party, that says a lot. So although I know in principle this was the right thing to do, but now there is no one watching the Pentagon, what could this mean? Without journalistic oversight, could the administration go even further and place our country in further jeopardy? I'd really like to know if the panel agrees with the journalist's decision, or could there have been another way to address this? Now we need to rely on OANN and other right-wing fringe news, in quotes, outlet for information on the actions of our military. This concerns me a lot. Mark, Scott?
So the good news is that while the press isn't in the Pentagon, they're at the Pentagon. They're standing outside. They're at their favorite restaurants. They're doing their jobs, I think, and hopefully they'll continue to do their jobs. It is, of course, an egregious and I would say stupid thing for Pete Hegseth to do, to throw journalists out of the Pentagon, unless they take a loyalty oath. And I know he's also required sign off on anybody who talks to a reporter because they don't like leaks. Well, welcome, Pete Hegseth. He was a reporter. I guess he wasn't really a reporter, but he was supposedly a TV journalist or something. And I guess he didn't realize that all administrations hate leaks. Of course, they want the information to go out that they want to go out. Obama is the most moral president we've ever had. Probably was against leaks. He didn't like leaks. So nobody likes leaks. But there's not a way to really stop it. The reporters are there. Some of them have been there for like 30 years. Covering the Pentagon. Like, I don't know, David Sanger has probably been, I don't know how long he's been ensconced there. And just because you're kicking him out of the building doesn't mean he doesn't have the contacts, and doesn't mean he's not going to get the stories. And so we're not thank goodness we're not reliant on OANN for news coming out of the Pentagon. We'll find out about what they're doing, because there will always be leaks. And there will always be journalists who are covering the Pentagon. So I think that answers that question.
Yeah. I mean, let's face it. All we really have to do is look at Pete Hegseth's chat thing that he uses just all over the place. We could find everything we need to find out. Just have him invite you into it, and he'll, just blab it out. Now it's like a second time that's happened. So yeah, I mean, journalism. There you have it. Once some journalist accidentally gets invited, or some foreign dignitary or some foreign spy gets invited, yeah, we'll know everything that's going on. Yeah, absolutely, it was the right decision for the reporters. OANN. Here's the thing: it shows what a slack ass organization you are, and how much credibility you have. The other one that surprised me, Newsmax. I really expected Newsmax to stay on board with it, although I don't think they had a really big presence there. But Fox News, you know what? You're right. When Fox News says, "Okay, this is a bridge too far for me," it probably is saying an awful lot. Not that I consider Fox News to be respectful journalism. I think it's more a propaganda thing. But I think that if they had signed up for it, that would be such an obvious sign of bias that even those that try to turn themselves into pretzels to tell me how reliable Fox News is, and they have the proof, they have the documents, and all this other stuff that they say, I think that would throw all that out the window, and all their talking points would go. And I think Fox News understood that. So yeah, Hegseth, just don't worry about it. As Scott says, they're still there. There's still people that they talk to. Journalism is based on relationships in a lot of ways. Journalism has a lot to do with relationships, and these relationships have not been, I don't think have been broken by any of this. And let's remember something. We're talking about people in the Pentagon. We're talking about people in military service. They understand the need for keeping things classified. They really, really do. They also understand the need for informing the public. Because let's face it, that's how they protect their own ass. If they've informed the public of what's going on, then the shit goes upwards. Now it's the Secretary of Defense's problem. But if they look complicit in something like this, it could come back and bite them. So I think you're going to find that although it may be more covert, the relationship between the journalists and the members of the Pentagon that are their sources, I don't really think it's going to be impacted as much as people think, because these people understand the precarious position they sit in. And I think they're quite aware that when the shit hits the fan, Hegseth isn't going to protect them. Trump isn't going to protect them. They have to cover their own bases, and I think that's something that we can be hopeful on. That we will still get information. I see that today we just blew up our 8th boat today. Now that came out of the Pentagon. So you're still going to get news. It's not like it's going to be the dead zone. You're still going to get news. And I'm going to assure you that the 4 news agencies that I'm looking at right now did not take it from OANN, their information. And they've got some really good reporting going on here. And I noticed that in many ways, they're saying anonymous sources. And I think you're going to just see that in a lot more often, anonymous sources, and that's fine. I have no problem with it. I give them all the kudos in the world.
Yeah, I want to add, and I will share the link to the YouTube. I will find it. David K. Johnston, professor whom we've had on this program, is a journalist. I believe he won a Pulitzer Prize. In any event, he reported on the Pentagon early in his career while he was living in Los Angeles. He's never been inside the Pentagon ever. So in this particular YouTube discussion, Professor Johnston describes what he would do in this situation. And he had no problem at all with journalists being ejected, except for the fact, of course, that it's certainly not helpful. It was not a good look for Hegseth. But as both Mark and Scott have said, it will not stop news from coming out.
No.
It just shows it helps to turn more and more people against Pete Hegseth because of his Hegseth's stupidity and his unfitness for office.
But it is a good look for journalism. I think it's a good look for journalism, especially because it was across the board. I mean, I really do think that this is, so many times, we talk about, journalists, we talk about the press. Trump has always promoted the fact that the press is the enemy of the people and things like that. And I think this is a good look for them, especially when they are unified. When they act as a unit, when they act in solidarity with each other, forget OAN, which is irrelevant anyway. I think it's a good look for them. And I think people actually take notice of that. When they see CNN and Fox and ABC, NBC, BBC, and all the rest of these people basically say, no, this is a bridge too far to us, I think people actually do take notice of it. Now, if Fox had not joined in onto it, maybe not as much. But then again, there's the preponderance of the number of agencies that pulled out. But once Fox, and I'll give Fox a lot of credit for this one, once Fox joined themselves into this move, I think that, yes, it's about the only time Fox gave credibility to anything. Because their reporting sure as hell doesn't give it credibility. But yeah, I think this was a good look for them. That was an easy one.
Yeah, that was easy. That's an excellent question. And no, don't worry about it. Tammy. Don't worry about it at all. We will still have our journalism in the United States, and you can always also look at other stations like CBC, BBC, other news from other nations, and get their views on what's happening in the United States. Alrighty. So we want to thank you so much, all of our listeners, each of you, for spending some time with us on the Nova Society. If you are not yet subscribed on the platform of your choice, please do so and tell a friend. We would like to spread our message more widely around the world. We do have global listeners, so thank you again. And we'll see you again next time on the Nova Society.
The Nova Society is a production of Nova Society Media, a division of the Phoenix Research Institute. We'd like to thank our production partners, Buzzsprout, who hosts the Nova Society, Audacity, our editing partners, Apple iTunes, the largest source of podcasts and music on the internet, Spotify, the most popular platform for the Nova Society, and iHeartRadio, your source for all things music and podcasting. The Nova Society is available on all of these and other quality platforms listed in our description. We'd also like to thank all of our listeners. Without your support, the Nova Society would not be possible. If you have a question or comment, we can be reached at nova.society.podcast@gmail.com. So for Dr. Brooklyn Ann Weldon, Dr. Scott Gershwer, and all of our production partners here at the Nova Society, I'm Dr. Mark Bound. Remember, the true power in society is knowledge. Thanks for listening, and we will see you again next time.
Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the #1 way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening!